So earlier today, I was just doing a quick online session for an artist that I did some work for maybe about a month ago, 3-4 weeks ago, something like that. But they contacted me. They're still working on the song, finishing it up, and they asked me to lay down some shaker on the track. So I just thought, while I got the stuff out, take the opportunity and give you some tips on playing a shaker. Now, the shaker is not by any means a complicated instrument. It's just a tube with some stuff in it. But regardless of the name, you don't just pick it up and shake it. There's actually a little bit of technique involved because, you want to be able to you can get a good amount of dynamics out of this thing if you do it the right way. So the way that I do it, I wasn't schooled on playing the shaker or anything like that. I just know what kind of sounds I like to get out of it. And based on that, just kind of came up with just a little bit of a simple method that you can remember just to get the most dynamics out of your shaker when you're trying to groove with it. So if you got one, grab one and follow me on this. Now you can use whatever shaker you want. This is a big Rhythm Tech live shaker. There's a live version. There's a studio version as well, which I think is a little bit softer. The beads or the sand or whatever's in here get a little bit thicker so you can get more volume out of this. I also keep one of these around. This is a softer LP shaker. But whatever you got, same thing applies. So just grab whatever you got and follow me. So basically what I do is I kind of think of 3 zones on the shaker while I'm playing it. So there's the floor, then there's the front wall, and there's the back wall. All right? So really all you're trying to do is just kind of manipulate the sand in there, get it to go where you want it to go to get the accents that you want. So, so my rule of thumb really is, if you want to just take your shaker, if you're holding one right now all the sand is on the floor, like that, right? So just kind of shake it around, and you're just sort of moving the sand around on the surface of the floor. If I want to get an accent, then what I like to do is sort of imagine slamming the sand up against the front wall, like that, right? So you're just kind of picking up the sand and throwing it up against the wall. Same thing with the back wall. If I want an offbeat accent, same thing. So just sand is on the floor. If I want a back accent, bounce it off the back wall. So that's really my elementary approach to playing the shaker. All right, so let's talk about technique for a second, starting with grip, how to hold your shaker. If you want to get the best sound out of your shaker, this thing needs to breathe, all right? This canister needs to breathe. So if you're holding your shaker like this, do me a favor and choke yourself. I'm just kidding. Don't choke yourself. Just give yourself a slap. But how you want to hold your shaker is kind of up here in the fingertips, all right? So if you see all that space between there, that's kind of what you want. You want to be able to hold it like that. Doesn't have to be super tight, just firm enough so it doesn't fall out of your hands, all right? Now, keep that in mind, what I was saying before about front wall, back wall, and the floor, because all of that stuff is going to be important when we go to play this thing. Now, another important thing about playing a shaker is balance. If you got a large shaker like this, then you're going to be able to feel that sand in there. It's going to want to go to one side or the other. So you want to try to do your best to keep it as level as you can. And that can be done just by sort of spreading your fingers out like this. Now, as far as how you physically play it, the way I play shaker normally, you can play it from 2 areas. You can play it from the wrist, like that, or you can play from the elbow. I find that finding that happy medium using the 2 will give you the best sound. Playing it from the elbow gives you the control, right? So if you want to do that kind of thing, it's way easier to control it if you play from here as opposed to trying to get everything that you want from up there, right? The reason for that is it's a lot easier to manipulate that sand inside the tube when you focus on playing it with the majority of your arm. So if you just kind of focus on playing it from, like just using your forearm, this will do, put that thing down. This up here, your upper part of your arm is going to do what it needs to do. But if you just kind of focus from playing it from there, you find that you're going to get the best control out of this thing. So as long as you're holding it level, relatively level, then you can do that. Now, the first type of rhythm that you want to practice playing when you're playing your shaker is just basic 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, and you want to be able to put your accents in there, all right? So front wall, back wall, floor. You basically want to go jack, 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 right? So you're going to use the front wall and the back wall for your accents. So all you got to do, you know what? I'm going to use my quieter shaker for this example. So all I'm going to do is just kind of, if I'm counting in my head the whole 1 E and a 2 E and a thing, you just want to use that front wall and the back wall, and then everything else you want to sort of settle onto the floor. So you just kind of get this thing happening. So if you can just shake it and do that, right? The sand is just kind of halfway hitting the front and the back wall. Now, if you want those accents to come out, you're going to throw it. You want to throw that sand up against the walls. So you go front or back. Front and back. Now, to get that whole 1 E and a 2 E and a thing, like if you can do those two, you're good to go. You just have to sort of balance it and then just concentrate on playing that rhythm. Back, front, back, front, back, front, back, front. If you can see, I'm playing it from the elbow. I'm not doing this. I'm moving my whole arm to get that happening. Now, a trick for accuracy, this is something that I kind of figured out a few years ago. A little bit of a mental kind of image, but you want to sort of imagine that there's a door. Let's say there's a door here. You ever knock on the door with your knuckle like that? If you just kind of picture yourself knocking on the door with your knuckle, the offbeats will take care of themselves, right? So that's all you're doing. Just kind of picture yourself knock, knock, knock with your knuckle while you're holding the shaker. Okay, so you know that's the first step, and then from there you just kind of concentrate on moving that sound around and bouncing it off against the wall. All right. Now, if you're rhythmically challenged, you're gonna have a problem with this. But if you got some funk in you, like me, then you can use this little technique and get some cool little things happening. Because again, if you just imagine knocking on that front door, then you can get all kinds of different rhythms happening. And then, like I said, everything else will just kind of happen on its own. So if you just kind of want to concentrate on, let me pretend this is my door or my wall or whatever. So let's say I want to tap this rhythm out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I play that rhythm while I'm holding a shaker, it sounds like this. Like that, right? And another thing that you can do if you want, well, not if you want, this is actually kind of how you do it, at least how I do it. But to get 30 seconds out of there, that's all you're gonna do. It's just a shimmy of the wrist, like that, right? So you're basically moving the sand on the floor back and forth, like that. Right? So if you couple that with the whole, accents with the front wall and the back wall, then, you can get all of that. Simple as that. So that's really all there is to it, man. It's just a very simple approach to playing the shaker. But the cool thing about it is that that little approach works with any tempo. So you can play slow, right? Or you can get faster tempos happening. So it's just, like I said, just imagine that wall or that door, and you're just kind of knocking on the door. So there you have it. You now know how to play shaker like a boss. Like I said, this will work with any shaker, whether it's one of these or even, those little egg shakers, which quite frankly are some of the best sounding shakers on the market. If you ever had one of those egg shakers, those things, you can use those things anywhere. So there you have it, man. Another quick tip from Beatdown. Free of charge, but feel free to leave a tip at the door on your way out. Drop a comment if you dig this video. New viewers, new subscribers, welcome to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button by now, there it is right there. Make sure you mash that before you bounce. Don't forget the sale. We got a sale going on right now in the merch shop. All orders are 15% off until May 31st, so you still got time to grab something if you want it. Just type in the code SPRING2020 at checkout. The link will be in the description box so you can go do some shopping. Stay safe, keep practicing, like, subscribe. See you next video.